So for the second part of my killer Piggy Clown makeup, I am now starting out by gluing down my eyebrows. It's a pretty simple process that's been done by everyone for a long time. So if you don't know how to do this, let me know and maybe I can explain it to you, or check out some of my other videos where I explain further. Make sure your glue is all the way dry before you start anything, obviously. This glue protects your eyebrows from everything, including stuff that might pull it out. So I started going in and airbrushing myself white. You don't have to airbrush yourself. You can use cream paint, you can use water-activated body paints, you can use whatever you want. I just decided to use my fancy new airbrush to do it for this look. So I laid down a good layer of white, kind of a sheer transparent layer of white, and then decided to go in and add in my what is going to look like gashes, or like the skin's been peeled away, to create these clown-like triangles around my eyes. I'm using here something called Skin Tight. It's a silicone build-up product that you mix 2 parts A and B along with another little serum and then mix it all up and let it thicken. And it becomes like this, I don't know, it looks like snot. When it gets to the really thick snot consistency, then you know it's ready to be put on your face. And then I sit there and carefully work this while it's drying, and you only have like a few minutes, I want to say like 3 minutes, to work with it before it starts to get too hard to manage in any way. So what I wanted to create here was like the cut is on the inside of the triangle, and I wanted to smooth the outside of the triangle into my skin. So that's what I'm trying to build up here. Building up the gashes and then blending the outside of the triangle of the, what's it called? Silicone. The outside of the silicone triangle into the skin. And you'll have to let that dry for a little bit before you can do anything else to it. So while I let that dry, I went ahead and slapped on a little eyeliner. Just because I knew I was going to be going dark with my eyes, so I figured while it was drying I will get the waterline done. Now that my silicone's all dry, I'm going to go in with a translucent setting powder. It's not going to really change the color, it just keeps it from being sticky. So that way I can do other things to the silicone, over the top of the silicone, paint it, you know, touch it, whatever, and it's not going to stick to everything. Make sure you don't get your hair caught in the silicone. I got a few baby hairs caught in it. They basically have to be removed after they're caught. So now I'm going in with a water-based body paint. And I went ahead and switched. I switched back and forth between my airbrush with the alcohol activated paints and painting on with water activated paints. So I mean, you can use whatever you have on hand, you know, substitute whatever you want. If you hear something playing, some rattling, it's my cat right below me with her little ball, only I can't get it from her, and if I take it from her she'll cry, so just ignore it. Anyway, so I went in here all along the edge with my dark red body paints, water activated body paints, and started to make this gash that's going to show up. And I actually will explain as I go that I would have done it a little differently than I wound up with, but I was in a super big time crunch. I had to really rush this whole thing, so I wound up doing something that I kind of would rather do it differently next time. Now I'm going in with black water activated body paints, and I'm just barely taking my brush and just putting it right into the crack where it would be like, you know, where it was cut or where the skin is separating from what's underneath it. So just go in really as clean as you can into that crack, and it's okay if it's not a perfect line, because I mean obviously it's going to be bloody, so this is just to give it some more depth. And what I was going to tell you about is I actually preferred, before I add in this next bit of really dark or really bright red paint, I actually like this look better. So next time, here I'm just using the same red body paint, and I should have actually painted in like the muscles and skeleton underneath. I would have rather done that, but I didn't have time to do it this time. So next time that's what I'll do. I'll go in with lighter colors, paint in the muscles and the skeleton underneath the skin, and then just leave that edge bloody and detailed to show the depth. So, you know, for the future, or if you want to try it that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking a chip brush that I've cut, and I'm flicking the black paint to come upward kind of in a triangular shape, but it's super messy. And this is actually a very messy technique, but it's so fun, and it always gives you a great effect. So I used to use toothbrushes for this all the time, so you can also use like a toothbrush. The chip brush is what I had on hand, and it's a pretty good way of doing it. Really effective. You can get some really small spatter with the chip brush as well. So don't flick yourself in the eye. It won't actually hurt your eye if you're using the paints I'm using, but it doesn't feel good. So now, because I know I want all around my eye to be all dark, I'm going in and just painting in around the eyelid. Don't get it in your eye. I totally got it in my eye, so and it does burn, but I'm used to it at this point. It doesn't actually damage your eye or anything. It's just make your eye water. So if you have something you don't want getting messy around your eye, if you get this paint in your eye, it's gonna run. So you want to make sure your eyelids are completely dry before you move on. I'm usually in such a hurry that I don't really get to do that, and then I go back over it later with some eyeshadow to fill in the top of the eyelid and keep it from smudging. So now I'm taking some really wet body paint, black body paint, and I'm dripping it. I did not mean to drip it out of my triangle, but it happened, and I just went with it. And I forgot that I actually could have just wiped it off because I used alcohol-based paints for the white, but I'm so used to using water activated that I thought it would take off my white paint. So I'm going in and kind of making like a spotted splatter, larger splatters, marks outside of the black splotch of my eye, just to, you know, give it some more details outside. So you can see I went to go soak up the body paint. It had already dried, and I didn't want to mess anything up, so I just left it and was like, whatever, go with it. Now I'm using a drippy blood, and this blood that I'm using here is actually alcohol activated or removed. You remove it with like alcohol or a special remover. But it's really, really realistic, and once you put it on and it dries, it stays, and it keeps kind of a shininess to it. But I wanted to drip some blood here and there. I made a huge mess, ruined a pair of pants, whatever, you know, makeup life, art life. So go in all along the edge and put in your nice drippy paints, and then, you know, where you feel like letting it drip out, you can let it have like a drip come out here and there. Don't get it in your eye. This one I don't know if it's safe to get in your eye. I didn't get it in my eye, and I don't recommend getting it in your eye because it's really thick, funky stuff. So, and I don't know if it would hurt your eye or not. He makes Bill, and if I'm right, we're headed straight for him. I'm going home, going low with my shotgun, wait by the door and light a cigarette. He wants a fire, well now he's got one, and he ain't seen me crazy yet. Slapped my face and shook me like a rag doll. Don't that sound like a real man? I'm gonna show him what little girls are made of, gunpowder and lead. Well, it's 10:30. So I've added in a few drips here and there coming outside of the triangle, wherever you feel they're necessary. This is what it's like filming with kids and animals in the house. It's just constant distractions and interruptions. So now I'm taking a red eyeshadow and lightly building it up on the tip of the nose to give it kind of a rosy look. Almost like a clown nose, but obviously in this case I have a piggy nose. So then I take the same eyeshadow and I'm going to go and smudge it all around the hairline and just completely blend it out, like aggressively blend it out so that it's a shadow. And anywhere that you start to blend it or that you put on the eyeshadow and you can't blend it to a light enough color, you can go ahead and use your translucent setting powder to blend that out. Or you'll see later I use a white, a very, very white setting powder that I use to just light my skin when I don't want to paint it. You can use that as well, just like a little bit of that on a big fluffy brush and blend it out really good. So I take this all the way down around my chin line, not onto the neck, but just around the chin, and go ahead and grab right underneath those cheekbones with it. I even took it out onto my ear. I actually dusted my ear with my ultra white setting powder first, and then I go and I dust my ear with this as well, but I don't think I recorded that part. So now I'm taking that ultra white, this is the powder, so this isn't paint, and you can see it really lightens up the skin in a very like natural translucent way, I guess you could say. So it's called ultra white setting powder. So I go through and I drag the white down and kind of blend it down and into my neck, into my chest, and onto my shoulders. So that way I can kind of continue the look downward. I wasn't sure exactly how into this I was going to get costume wise. So now I'm taking a matte black eyeshadow, and I'm, as I said before, filling in that top lid because I never wait long enough for the paint to dry and then it gets all smudgy. So I'm just powdering that up so it'll be nice and solid and stay put. And you could do that with anywhere that you want to matte out a shadow or matte out a paint. You can use a shadow to do that. Now I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm tracing the lines of the nose, giving it some grit and depth, getting all up in the nose holes, giving it some detail. I'm also taking the black eyeshadow, and I'm just gently doing a little bit where I put the red, just kind of deepening that bone structure and stuff a little bit with the black, and then I blend it all out really good into that red. Here I'm using water activated body paint to paint on my lips. You can use lipstick. I just prefer the body paint because it stays put, and I tend to layer a lot. So if you're used to working with the water activated body paints, you can layer on top of them if you do it just right, and they won't really move a whole lot, or you can purposely make them blend with whatever you're layering them with. Here I'm smudging them out, looking all, not quite right. I have teeny tiny lips, so I always have a hard time deciding what I want to do with my poor tiny little lips. So how much do I want to build them up, and how much will it look unrealistic when I build them up? So here I'm taking that chip brush and I'm splattering the corners of my lips with it. I'm trying to keep it in kind of an up and down shape with the splatter. And then I decided my lips were still too small. So I grabbed more of the red and I built them up a little higher and kind of led them up over the edge of the nose. So kind of trying to hide the edge a little bit that's down on my lip. Because if you watch the video of the application of the nose, you'll see that it was a little too big for my face, and it came a little too far down above my lip. Sorry, my brain can't keep track right now. So yeah, I just kept spattering and adding until I felt like it was good, and then also making myself stop before I ruined it. I'm sure anybody who is an artist understands that line. It's a very, very fine line between just enough and too much. Now take some black paint and just pop it inside those nostrils, just on the insides of the holes, so it gives them some depth and darkness in there. I'm taking black powder and just deepening and darkening some of the wrinkles and creases around the nostrils. And then I'm going to take some that wonderful drippy blood stuff, the really realistic looking blood, and I'm going to give myself a bloody nose. I figured this clown looks like she's started some trouble, so she probably got popped in the nose a time or two. So now I'm taking my ultra white powder all the way down onto my chest and shoulders. Same stuff I used on my neck. Just blending it out into the shoulders as best I can. Ugh, boobs, always in the way. And now I'm taking the same black eyeshadow that I've been using the whole time, and just going along and following my own bone structure and shading it all in. I decided to pop a couple rhinestones on. I don't know why. Now you'll be able to see them because I told you about it, but had I not told you, no one probably would have even seen them. But they're like tiny, tiny little rhinestones. I just felt like it needed a little flash, a little glitz to go with the blood, you know. And now I'm fingering in a little bit of highlighter, just on the points of bones, on the tip of my nose, on my lip, places I want to look glistening. I'm going to be adding some other stuff to make them shiny as well. But now, please ignore my application thingy for my lip gloss. This is one of my favorite lip glosses to use. It's super thick and shiny. I only use it when I want something really glossy looking, but the applicator is terrible. And now I'm going in with some of that. So this is a different Droopy Blood. This is not as intense, and this one's like safer. I don't know how safe the other one was. And this one will stay wet. This one's not going to dry up very well. So I'm going in, and I think I added gloss actually. I added gloss to the eye triangles, and then I went in with some of the Drippy Blood over the gloss so it looked more like blood. Now I'm splattering black, and then I splatter in some blood. You know, just adding it where I feel it's needed. And that's all there is to it. And this is my gorgeous killer Piggy Clown. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and like and share. Support is always welcome, and I will support you back if you leave your links down in my comments. Can't you